Hello and welcome. I'm Luminessa Enjara, and I'm so happy that you've decided to join us for the first class of Ascension 101, Discovering Your Inner Sensitivity or Developing Your Inner Sensitivity. So in this class, I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what Ascension is, what that process means, and talk a little bit about the state of the world and why it's so important for us right now to be really learning about these things and to really be learning how to clear our lower, denser aspects of ourselves, our shadow, and work with connecting with our personal I am presence, our guides, and specifically connecting with source energy in a more definitive way. So first, let me share with you a little bit about Ascension that I know of. And I've been studying and practicing and working with these concepts for well over 40 years. I got my start way back in the 1970s when I was introduced to a teaching called Inner Sensitivity Training. It was with the teaching of the Inner Christ, a non-denominational metaphysical teaching. And it was through this group of people and organization that I actually met my lineage and my true teacher called Babaji. And Babaji is really the founder and the lineage holder and the founder of what we call Kriya Yoga, which is a form of breathing that allows someone through practice to really move into states of enlightenment, higher states of awareness. He lived several thousand years ago, and because he was already in his light body, when rather than leaving his physical body behind, his students pleaded with him to stay in his physical body and not to leave, but to take it with him so that he could return to them if they should need him. And he agreed to do that for all life, for lifetimes. He just agreed to do that until all people could also awaken to their true nature. So I am always eternally grateful to Babaji. He truly is a part of my higher self. And I have worked with him throughout my entire life. And I feel very close to him as an ascended master. Now, Mother Mary is an ascended master. There are Mary Magdalene is an ascended master. Dwaj Kul, you may have heard of him, is an ascended master. We have yet Jesus is an ascended master, or Sananda, as you might call him in his ascended name. There are many different divine beings who do no longer live on this dimension, but live in other dimensional realities. I know for a fact that we are not two-dimensional, three-dimensional people. We're actually not three-dimensional people. We're multi-dimensional people. Multi-dimensional meaning that even though we're living here in the third dimension, many people report when they dream, they can fly. Many people report that they have dreams where they go off planet. I know of many people who feel like they actually do work and they heal and they do other things in their dream state. And when they come back, they're in a physical body. And then there's also the aspect of knowing that you're in your physical body, but yet you feel and sense somehow that there are other realities beyond the earth that you can access, sometimes through thought and sometimes just by attunement. So ascension is an organic, natural evolution for us as humans so that we can develop and reconnect as the divine humans we were always intended to be, accessing our light bodies. And some people would call that the rainbow bodies. It's told in some of the Tibetan Buddhist texts that we're able to evolve our consciousness enough that we can move into greater and greater states of consciousness. Our physical body becomes lighter and lighter because it becomes more radiant. And we'll also be able to become masters of our own reality, masters of the physical reality for sure, but masters of our thoughts, masters of our mind, masters of our emotions, masters of our etheric and energy bodies, that we truly embody self-mastery at the core. Now, for me, this has been my commitment, my dedication, my entire life. I know that when I was young, just beginning these teachings, I felt so in alignment with knowing that I came here to remember myself as a master that I may have been in other lifetimes. I came here to truly ascend into my light body in this lifetime and to live as the divine human. I didn't know why I felt this way, and I didn't really know how this was going to be accomplished, but I just had a feeling that it was the right thing for me. So I've spent my whole life dedicated to my own awakening, my own spiritual development, spiritual evolution, and also to healing all and any aspects that I needed to heal in my own personal life. So ascension requires a certain level of commitment and dedication, especially if you're choosing to do it consciously, which is what we're doing here in this class. If you are aware of what your desire is, if you're choosing spiritual awakening, then you're in the right place right now, because these series of classes will assist you in reconnecting with your source energy, with your higher self, and with really giving you a solid foundation of your true nature. So ascension also has meaning for the planet. So today we are in a very unique time, a time that has only been foretold for thousands and thousands of years in many sacred texts. We're coming into the age of what we would call the golden age. And every 12,000 years, we come into a new golden age. There's what they would call the in and the out breath of God. And for cycles and cycles of time in our galaxy and beyond, we've gone through these ages. We've gone through ages where we go into God and we become the golden age for 1,000 years. And then we go into darkness again, which are the dark ages. And then there's another 1,000 or 10,000 years actually for the dark ages. But in this time and place right now, Earth is uniquely posed because of other changes happening on the galactic scene that are not earthbound. Other planets, universes are also coming into their evolutionary stride, their awakening, their ascension process in their own way. We are now coming into what they would say a permanent golden age, where we no longer have to recycle back into a dark age. And that's why it's so vitally important for all of us now to take it seriously and to truly step into their true nature, to own their power, to realign again, once again, with the truth about who we are as human beings, the divine human being that we came here to be. There's a long story behind what happened and how Earth and Earthlings and you and I, who most of us came from other star planets, we're called star seeds for a reason. There are a percentage of people who are born as Terrans on Earth and are intended to be that way as they evolve. And then there are those of us who actually have memories of coming from other star systems. I know I have. And those of us who volunteered to come back here came back. Most of us, if we're alive and kicking and you're listening to this, or if you're listening to other people who are sharing this kind of information, you then know that you're one of us and you're here to support this ascension process for the Earth. Planets ascend just like people do. They're organic, they're living conscious beings, and every planet in our galaxy at one time or another ascended into the next dimension. So we move from a 1 dimension to a 2 dimension to a 3, and then on to the 4th and 5th dimension. And what does that mean? It's really, again, a vibrational shift. So everybody here living on this planet at this time, again, whether they know about it or not, is ascending with planet Earth. As Gaia goes through her own ascension, we're moving along with her. Now, consciously choosing to do so gives us a lot more leverage, because then we are really taking our power back, we're taking responsibility, and we're stepping more into self-authority as our own savior, as the people that we always say we're waiting to be saved, or what is it? We are the ones we've been waiting for. It's us, the starseeds that came here to help this planet through these dark times into the light. Once again, we're moving through this tunnel. We're almost clear of it, but not quite yet. And even though things are playing out on the planet right now that look very dark, not very happy, I would like to share with you that things are moving in a higher way. And behind the scenes, it's actually the opposite. We could say that those who are on the allied end, or what we like to call them as the white knights or the white hats, that they're more in control than ever before. And so it's up to us now to move into our own ascension process more consciously and to do the work, the personal inner work. If you haven't already done that, this will give you a little bit of a start on how to, and to connect with Source as ourselves, to really reclaim our essential sovereignty and power, and to reclaim and to connect with what it means to be discerning and to make conscious choices and to really think things through and not just follow the crowd. We're here to ascend in our vibration from a 3D to 4D and 5D, and for some, even beyond. Now, there are many ways to do that. But the first step, there are different levels of ascension, of course. There's ascending when we work with our physical body. We must learn to eat the right food so that our body is lighter and lighter through the foods that we take in. We learn how to take care of ourselves and nourish ourselves and get sleep and drink great water and eat organic food. But we also have to cultivate our mental self and learn to control our thoughts, learn how to move into still point and how to access that energy. And initially, we access that through meditation, which we also learn to do. And meditation is a very positive tool to be aware of and to use because it really helps our brain to move into different states of consciousness, which allow us to feel more grounded, relaxed, at peace, still, and also to access more states of mysticism. So these are all different ways in which we move into our ascension by cultivating different aspects of our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical and etheric bodies. We learn how to become more masterful over all of these aspects of ourselves. And as the earth ascends, and we can't stop her from ascending, but there are forces that do try to stop us. So we are now claiming that we are naturally able to access the spiritual gifts that we were born with originally, way back thousands of years ago. Did you know that everyone was able to be clairvoyant and telepathic and bilocate? And every one of us has the ability to reclaim our spiritual gifts. It's all part of our brain. We just have to learn to practice and turn on our pineal gland. So ascension is multifaceted, just like you and I are. So having said that, I would just like to briefly go in a little bit more to what we mean when we say inner sensitivity and developing your inner sensitivity. What does that mean? Well, as a being who is a spiritual being, again, I always like to say that we're a spiritual being having a human experience. We are a human. We are, the word hue is actually meaning this word of spirit. We are divine. We are in a physical form on a very physical planet going through a molecular shift and change, both on the physical level personally, as well as on the level of our planet. And when we talk about inner sensing, we want to develop the inner ability to know what is truth and what is not truth, what feels right and what does not feel right. There's a vibration about truth that you get to cultivate over time. And again, I've been doing this for so many years, it's second nature to me. In other words, if I was to listen to someone who maybe I've never heard of before, and let's say that they channel a particular entity from another planet, and if I were to hear them, and if I were to feel a resonant frequency of knowing that their channeling was very accurate, very pure, very clear, without any infiltration of subconscious mind or maybe an entity that meant harm, but it didn't look like it did initially. If I could sense their vibration of the words that they speak, and I would be able to know right away whether this person was channeling clearly and purely from the essential self as the divine, this being coming through them and using their physical body, using their voice, using their mind in a sense to feed it thoughts, ideas, or not. I would know if it was fake, unclear, somehow, influenced by maybe their own subconscious thoughts and beliefs, and maybe they weren't even aware of it. Because I have developed and cultivated an ability within myself to intuit, to feel the vibration. And so you'll get an opportunity to cultivate this inner sensing ability. Inner sensitivity also means that we will cultivate the spiritual gifts that we are given. And those gifts, again, can be anything. You could start with anything. I've been cultivating my clairvoyance over the past couple of years. It's been easier and easier as our vibration on the planet gets more and more lifted. With so much of the solar flares and CMEs that come on, we're being fed vibrational liftings every single time that happens. And for me, I have noticed that as I have begun to really work with my pineal gland through breathing exercises, through decalcifying it, that I began to have images become more vivid, colors, that I began to visualize things so much more easy than I ever had before. My clairvoyance is more about inner seeing. It's not so much that I see auras at this moment, not that I couldn't, I just haven't practiced. Again, any of our spiritual gifts that we are given or have to be cultivated, just like any other skill or technique. I do, and I've always wanted to be telepathic more, and I know that there are exercises that I could do with another person to practice that. So we have the capability to develop inner sensing, to sense a vibration, to sense if someone is speaking the truth or not. We live in a world that is so easily manipulated in social media, where we can use cameras to make special effects, over effects that may not be real, fake news. We hear truths that are overlaid with other propaganda from other people. It can be very confusing and often a little bit scary to hear one version of one thing and then another version of another thing and not know what the real truth is. So the only way that you or I can actually learn what that truth is or trust that is to trust our own guidance system, our inner self, our higher self, our I am presence. And these are all names for those aspects of ourselves, our superconscious self. It is the self that knows everything. It is the self that expresses as the unified field or divine intelligence. You might even call that God or goddess, but it really isn't a person. It's a vibration and a divine intelligence. It really is an intelligent form of life. It's the creator of life. It's where life was created. We might say that the feminine aspect of God is Sophia, and from Sophia is the void. And from the void is where all things are created and where all things go, where infinite probabilities exist and infinite possibilities exist. The void is the still presence. And then we also have that which is the divine masculine, or we would say God. And God as the masculine is where we manifest from. It's the action. Without the spark of action into the void, we would never have anything be done. So both are necessary and needed. And you and I are also composed of the masculine and the feminine energies, and it has nothing to do with our gender. So when we talk about inner sensing abilities, we are learning to attune part of ourselves that can begin to feel vibrational frequency in words, because everything has a vibration, and especially our words and our thoughts. You might think, well, no one hears when I think, but you're thinking them, and the thoughts have power to influence you. And when you speak out thoughts, especially if they're negative thoughts or thoughts that are not of the higher vibration of love, what happens is those vibration goes out into the void, into the field, and it actually comes back to you exactly the way that you said it. You know, some people will say that when they have bad luck all the time in their life, and that's because they believe they have bad luck and they consistently say, oh, I have such bad luck. Oh, that happened to me again. Stuff always happens to me. So we learn through inner sensing how to develop what we speak, how to hear vibration, how to know and catch ourselves. We inner tune to a higher vibration of being. And so you'll have the opportunity throughout these classes to learn how to do this for yourself. Again, my purpose for offering these classes over time is to support anyone who chooses to connect back in to their divine nature, to find out who they truly are, to develop their inner sensitivity, to develop how to channel for themselves in a safe and clear way, to really connect with source energy and to know that they are divine sovereign beings. And once we connect into source and we develop our ability to have self-authority is so very important, and you will learn every step of the way that you are in total control at all times of anything that goes on within your own self, because this is us. We own this. We have a say-so about what we think, about what we say, about what we put into our bodies. And we have a right and an absolute divine right to claim abundance in our life, to claim health in our life, to claim loving relationships in our life. We all have that right. It's our divine right as divine humans, and we're reclaiming our divinity in the human form right now at this time. And so it's integral to all of us to begin to meditate, to begin to develop some of these tools of consciousness, and to learn how to be more masterful in our own life so that we have more control over what comes in and goes out. And as each of us do that, we become more engaged as a collective consciousness. You see, each of us have a part in the collective field. So I've been shown through my own higher self and teachings that we might think, what does it matter whether I do this or I don't do that? But the truth is, when any individual pulls out of the collective consciousness, it's felt everywhere in the planet. It's felt. There's a vibration missing. Your vibration is missing. So if you put in positive thought, if you start to align to the highest law of the land, which is love, and again, we'll go more into what we mean when we say love. We're talking about a force that is way beyond anything that we've been taught here on this planet. So love as unification or unified field, love as a living vibrational frequency, pure love from such magnitude that it cracks the heart open. And again, this is not a love of the personality. It is not romantic love. It's not familial love. It's a love way beyond that, that is all encompassing. So every time you learn and move into a new state of vibration or connect with your higher self or begin to have conscious contact and take authority back into your life, you now are adding into the collective field a positive shift for all humanity and all of us in this world. So that's why it's important for all of us right now to take responsibility that we're not here just to have fun. Not that there's anything wrong with fun. I love to have fun. But what I mean is not just about having fun in the world or doing what we want and going out and doing, you know what I'm saying? It's not just about that. It's also about evolving and doing the inner work and coming into the highest state of being that you can. Now, whether you do that as a housewife or mom or a dad, or you do that as a doctor, or you do that as a speaker or an author, it doesn't matter what the profession is. But you as an individual, you yourself, it's time to get I guess I would say serious, because we're at this cross points now, and it takes every single one of us to really move into this connection of source energy, to reclaim it, because in a way, and without going too much into the backstory, it was taken from us. We were told for hundreds of years, if not a few thousand, that we were not capable of direct connection to God or source. We had to go through an emissary, a priest, or some other middleman in order to connect to that source. And of course, religion was created in many ways as a way to, sanction that. We made it more legit with a religious hierarchy. So now we're reclaiming, as we come into the new age and we come into this new timeline of creating what we would call the new vibration of the new earth, we're actually reclaiming the original concept, the original blueprint of humanity. And that is part of this ascension process. And yes, sometimes there are symptoms of ascension that happens because our planet is being in flux daily with these high intensity solar flares that definitely can cause us to feel sometimes very tired or out of sorts. Sometimes we have physical issues in our body because of it. But we learn how to move through those with more grace and more ease, the more we tap into connection with our own source energy. We'll be able to access and get information for ourselves. We'll even learn how to tune into the Akashic Records if you choose. So with that, I'd like to say goodnight for now, or good afternoon, or good day, whatever time it might be for you, and to invite you to join me again for our next class, which will probably be happening within the next week or two. And I'll be posting them up on YouTube, my channel, as soon as possible. And again, if you have any questions, you'd like to connect with me, feel free to go ahead. And I would say the easiest way at this point would be to, you can direct message me on my Instagram channel or on Facebook. You can connect with me at Luminessa Enjara or luminessa.enjara on Instagram, and on Facebook at newfemininerising.com. I have a page called New Feminine Rising, so feel free to message me there as well. And I may eventually have an email that you can use as well. But until then, I hope that you'll have a wonderful day, evening, and week. Namaste. Excuse the delay.